Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we've got a lot to talk about today. We are continuing today's discussion here on VCTV around energy and sustainability. We just had a great panel of investors share with us what's happening around clean and environmental technology. And now we're going to go a layer deeper. We're going to get more technical and get more focused around energy and that sustainability piece of clean tech and broader environmental technologies. So get ready to go a level deeper than what we just talked about. And we've got some great guests, some you've seen before and some it's been a bit, but nonetheless, they are all here to talk to you and share not only what they're doing, but also what they're seeing happening around technology, industries, and regions around the world as it relates to energy and sustainability. And as we've talked about here on VCTV, this is a very important topic, not just for the current times, but also because of the time of year. We're in that sprint towards the end of the year. As investors, this is when you're seeing the great companies come out. This is when you're trying to keep up to date with everything that's happening and changing as new products and new services and new companies are coming to market. And entrepreneurs, you know this is that sprint towards the end of the year, getting that last bit of capital in as you head into your next year of business. And for us, that's 2021, a lot to be excited for and looking at the decade ahead. And with that, a big thank you for tuning in today. At any time, if you like what you hear, make sure you click subscribe, reach out to us and give us any feedback or questions that you may have. And if you'd like to be on a show like today, as an investor to share your thoughts and insights, we'd love to have you and find the right topic for you. And entrepreneurs, as I mentioned, sprint to the end of the year, fundraising, you got to get it out there, new products, etc. Guess what? There is a virtual stage here for you to do just that. Pitch us as investors and also pitch our live audience what you're building. It's a great opportunity if you're looking to get some exposure, you're looking to do some fundraising, you've got investors who are focused on your area and a company like yourself. Do reach out and we'd like to find the right opportunity for you. And also a big thank you to Maria and to the entire LATOKEN team for making VCTV possible every single day as well. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and let's go ahead and get introduced to all of our great panelists to talk about, again, what's happening in energy and sustainability when it comes to technology and these industries as a whole. Without further ado, Arena, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure. My new co-host, would love for a short introduction and some background on yourself as well.
Yes, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be back. It's been a long weekend. I was pulling weeds at our ranch because, it's a fun thing to do. My name is Irina Litchfield. Many know me as a crypto superwoman. I am president of Lumeria. It's where capital meets innovation. I am founder of Blockchain Cubed. It's an integration blockchain consulting company. I advise to Space Fund, to a global securities exchange, to Med Network, AdTech technology, and it's my honor to be here. It's just one of my favorite ways to start my day. I check my emails and then, log in. And so thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure as well. And there's so much knowledge that you have around this industry and so many others that you continue to share. So thank you as well for joining us. And Luis, it's been a few minutes. I think I can literally count them on my hands at this point since we saw you last talking about what's happening around clean tech and environmental technologies. But nonetheless, this is another area of expertise for you. And I'll let you introduce yourself, a little background as to why as well.
Hi, so it's again, it's a pleasure being here with you and all these panelists. Always good people, good talk, and a lot of good insights, not only for your audience, but also for us. We're learning here as well. So I've been in the energy ecosystem since 2009, working with wind and solar energy, mostly on the physical side. And now I'm moving towards the clean tech side, the innovation side. I'm launching a investment fund for clean tech, for energy clean tech innovation. We're planning to be ready to start looking for targets and investing by the end of next year. And I'm really excited here because, as I was saying on our last session, finally energy became sexy and is now on the headlines. And we have a lot of good people, a lot of bright minds just talking about and wanting to move it forward. So again, great pleasure being here talking about the topic and sharing the panel with all these good heads here.
Absolutely. And I think you call it out just right in what will be today's theme as well, is that energy is now top of mind. It's now a focus point. It's no longer something to be kind of swept under the rug and forgotten about, or only focused on a few companies and a few industries. It's now something that we have to be concerned about, in so many areas and technologies touch it. And with that, Elfish, to you, pleasure to see you again, my friend. Different camera angle. We got a whole new view today. It's wonderful. A little intro, a little background.
Hey, I'm Alpesh Toshi. I'm a tech entrepreneur and building businesses around one of the areas we're working in around sustainability and energy data. What we're seeing, as you just mentioned and other people have mentioned, we're seeing increasing serious interest with investors out there, and actually more importantly, companies and customers wanting to actually do something to figure this stuff out. And that's the primary driver, right? If a customer doesn't want to do anything, then it doesn't matter how clever the idea is. So I'm interested, I'm building a venture around a data and AI for sustainability data across real estate and a bunch of other things. And that's the fundamental part. If you're going to do net zero, unless you can measure it, you can't do it. So we're building that out to provide that capability for customers.
Wonderful. We're going to unpack that as well, because data is one of the areas that we, in some would say, have a lot of around this industry, but what have we done with it, or what can we do with it, is a big question mark. And I think for the decade to come, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. So we're going to come back to you on that as well. And welcome back to the show, Telly, as well. It's been a few minutes. We talked a lot about clean tech and some of your efforts around environmental technologies a little earlier today. But if you can, welcome back, and a little intro, a little background.
Okay, well, intro, I'm co-founder of Beyond Capital Markets, which is a global alternative investment and capital market firm. We're tech first and tech enabled. So our focus is primarily building out a digital financial market infrastructure, which comprises of different digital stacks from blockchain, AI, machine learning, and a number of different composite technologies across not just the capital market landscape, but other areas of finance, leveraging. And then we also develop new products. So we're big in product development. We have a number of different products that are churning out of that lovely infrastructure. I'm also, as part of the subsidiary of Beyond Capital Markets, and also I'm a co-founder of House Labs, which is an incubator, a virtual incubator. We have one of our spinoffs is Out Schools. So that's specifically for alternative financial education for professionals, especially in the digital space. We also have a big focus on developing solutions around sustainability and developing new products. So on the digital asset space, I'm really, really interested in leveraging digital assets for creating new marketplaces that support, energy tokenization of energy, tokenization of carbon emissions credits and stuff, and also finding new ways of mobilizing capital for sustainability as well. On a personal standpoint, I am a climate finance specialist. So for me, everything around sustainability, energy is really key. Specifically, while the focus has been a lot on energy, I like the fact that we're covering sustainability today because we have to adapt to a totally new reality. I live in the Caribbean, St. Kitts and Nevis, obviously. So hurricanes are just the norm. And the severity of the hurricanes are just out of anything anyone would have even factored in. And the hotter it gets, the worse it's going to get. So we have to adapt to a new reality. So my focus around sustainability is how do we specifically adapt to this new reality? How do we leverage new solutions to make us more sustainable and resilient. Yeah, because I want to have like a category 6 if ever hit me, and I'm still walking out my door and like, yeah, my built environment, supports me. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities around this space. For me, I take a very long-term view. It is not a trend. It is really a very long-term sustainable theme. For any serious investor, this is really a space you want to be in. And of course, linked to sustainability will also be our food, sustainable food, reproduction.
Wonderful. And thank you. Welcome back as well, Telly. Tolga, to you. A pleasure to have you back here on the show. A little intro, a little background from those who may not know you.
Thank you, Kyle. Hi, guys. My name's Tolga, and thanks for inviting me to this event, Kyle. It's a pleasure to be with you again. To give you a little brief background, after working for companies like Spin Master and EA, I founded a startup called Thunderbolt, and we built multiple different technology ventures under the umbrella of my company. Eventually, I sold Thunderbolt to an investment company called New Wave Holdings. After the acquisition, I was appointed as the CEO of New Wave, and the company went public at the CSE, Canadian Stock Exchange, in October 2019. After taking an isolated break, I joined a new EV charging company as their vice president. I'm supporting the team with product design and marketing. The company is called Loop, and you can check our website at evloop.app. We are coming up with some new innovative stuff soon, and I will keep you updated on that. Thanks again.
Wonderful. Welcome all to the show, and pleasure to have each and every one of you. And want to jump right in and talk about the current state of these areas. So whether that's energy or sustainability as a whole, what's happening and where things are or not moving around this industry. And Luis, let's start with you. You're up in my top left corner, so let's start with you. What are you seeing as the current state of energy and sustainability in terms of their markets today?
As I was saying, I think now it's amazing because everyone that talks about sustainability talks about energy. So when we are watching the TV and it comes on an ad from Amazon talking about sustainability, all that you can see is just a wind farm on the background. So now everyone is becoming aware that energy and sustainability, they walk hand to hand. So this, for me, it's very important because I think sometimes we just take energy for granted. It's just like our health, like you only miss it when you don't have it. When you plug your computer on the power outlet, you expect that it's going to work. You only get concerned when it doesn't work. You're not plugging your computer there and say, oh, whether you're not concerned whether there's going to be energy there or not. So we need to understand that it's vital for us, and it affects our environment in a material way. So we got to talk energy. We got to understand that we got to not take for granted. And we got to understand that if we deal with the energy in a kind of disregard, it will be a big problem. It's already a big problem, but it will be even bigger in the future. So, and I have a big mission and that I took upon myself. That is, it's bringing the awareness that we gotta scratch the surface. So, you probably, Kyle, you remember that I've already said that, but it's not just replacing your regular car with a Tesla. You're just moving the place where the fuel is being burned. You're not burning in your car, you're burning somewhere else so you can generate energy for your car. So you got to scratch the surface and really understand what it takes to take a sustainable approach. And you got to go deeper. It's not just what is nice, just having a Tesla instead of any other car, but also, look and dig deep to understand where your energy to charge your electric vehicle it comes.
Yeah, you're spot on. And we talked a little bit about this on the previous episode, right, around clean tech. And really, there's the top level things, like you said, buying a Tesla, for instance, using sustainable mobility, for instance, or clean mobility. But there's much more that we can be and should be doing. And I think you're starting it off right. And Elfish, I want to come to you. I mean, you focus on so many areas in this around data and artificial intelligence, but also just generally, what are you seeing as the current state around energy and sustainability today? Oh, you're on mute.
We're working on energy projects at the moment. We've got energy projects that are around basically looking at modernization of the value chain of energy, from production to, if you have solar PV, you're doing virtual power plants and contributing back to the grid. We're seeing on the sustainability side, enterprises thinking about what they should do in terms of measuring. Obviously, they're interested in sustainability, but also, one of the biggest, as I said right at the beginning, is the data. If you don't have the data, how can you measure it? How can you know what your energy footprint is? Combining energy and sustainability. So one of the areas we're working is in real estate, and one of the largest polluters in the world is real estate. 40%, I think, is what they say. I don't know if it's true, but that's what they say. So if you imagine being able to calculate what that footprint looks like, that gives the firms the opportunity to measure it properly, to then do something about it. So very simply, it could be things like, once you've got the data, you can build a model, and then you can, for example, do carbon trading on that particular real estate asset, as an example. If you can measure it, you can then also reduce the energy footprint, or you modernize. And obviously, that's where AI comes in to say, well, how do you optimize and modernize? If you've got a large real estate portfolio, you can aggregate and do better energy buying, better electricity buying, for example. So what I'm seeing is just the momentum around investors getting interested in it, end users and customers. So large Fortune 500s looking at sustainability as an example. Talking to a Fortune 500 who said, we're trying to get data from our suppliers on their sustainability and what they're doing on what they supply to us, so that we can measure it. So that supply chain is also something that it's there. The challenge is, frankly, the financial markets are interested in it. The financial markets need it. The regulators need it. But the reality is the data really is not organized well enough to do that. And so right now, there's a phrase called greenwashing. I don't know if any of you have heard of greenwashing, but the financial markets are using that, where they're using qualitative data to build financial products like green bonds, which aren't real. I mean, how would you buy a green bond right now without knowing the kind of data that determines that one? No way. So hopefully that sort of gives you a landscape and summary of what I'm seeing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. I mean, that's a very unique asset class, and the markets, as we talked about previously, are still trying to figure out where to make their bets here as well. And Telly, to you, what are you seeing as the current state around energy and sustainability?
Okay, just to jump off of what Alpesh pretty much highlighted, from the perspective of the fact that most companies have started looking at energy and sustainability. One, let's put into context. When you're looking at climate and the area around climate risk is a financial risk. So any company, any financial firm, it's something that critically has to be managed, right? And it's impacting on it. So we're seeing companies now putting in place proper mandates that this, to take this into stride, especially in spaces where you don't necessarily have public policy that has set a precedence, right? Like, so in the US, you haven't signed on to the Paris Agreement, but because it impacts your bottom line, you have to take into stride this. But like Alpesh said, you have a bundling of different portfolios, especially in the asset management space, and greenwashing and blue washing as well. Yeah, not just green, blue washing as well. However, no one really knows what's under the hood. So there is really an opportunity to, go beyond this ESG metric to really look in to see, are these companies or these activities actually contributing towards lowering the energy costs, being more efficient, with using new renewable technologies, or contributing, adding value to sustainability. Um, I think the whole landscape is also, I'm seeing more synergies with more linkages with sustainable development goals, as well as some of the energy transformation or transition, mandates for countries to move to. So within that context, I think Alpesh focuses on the supply chain. I'll look at the whole value chain, and the whole value chain around this whole space. When you incorporate sustainability as well as that, you start to see a lot more opportunities and a lot more um, uh, entities that are actually solving the problem in many different ways. I think in the last segment, we spoke about circular economy models. Circular economy models apply squarely when you start looking at sustainability holistically. Um, from a investment space, and where we're seeing a lot of movement in terms of portfolio and portfolio diversification and creating these unique, lovely baskets, whether it is on the traditional side or whether it is from a tokenization perspective, you're starting to see more and more a blending of energy as well as some sustainability metrics in these portfolios. So for instance, you would have a number of different energy projects, which is great, because for a number of years, when you think about, sustainability, it's always been energy. Why? Because when you're thinking about different type of projects that lend to adaptability, infrastructure, it's really difficult, for when you're dealing with infrastructure. But when you start to get a bundling, and you're starting to see portfolios that consist of ag tech, consist of the energy, different solar, smart grids, and a whole bunch of things, then you have that opportunity for more diversification. And what we're seeing then is we're starting to see a drive of more private equity, institutional capital gravitating towards it, because it kind of de-risks the whole, innovation of the space as well. So that's something we're definitely seeing within the landscape.
And Tolga, to you, what else are you seeing furthermore on the current state around energy and sustainability?
Sustainability is, a word that a lot of people are using, but we need to really understand, what the value of sustainability is, because right now we are still, 95, 98% dependent to fossil fuels, and the planet is running fossil fuels. Why? Because it's just easy. You burn it, and you sell gas, you sell petroleum. It's the easiest product. It's easiest commodity to sell because there's constant demand. It's one-time consumption. But now we realize that the world is moving to sustainability, and the other one, I mean, the fossil fuel industry is very profitable. It's very easy to make money, but in sustainability there is no money. I mean, of course there's money, but it's just compared to one-time consumption of fossil fuels. Sustainability is an expensive actually venture. So right now, all the government incentives and the movement, the green movement, is changing this in a way that they are trying to make sustainability profitable. And I think the most important thing here is the age that we are living in, because the way that we can make sustainability valuable is with connectivity. And right now we have this in the digital age, mobile apps, everybody is connected to each other. And this is providing a massive value to what we can do with the future of energy. And one of the reasons why I am right now involved with this company called Loop is because EV charging. I mean, in the future, I think I mentioned this in our last event too. right now there are gas stations in every corner, but in the future, because of connectivity, you know how we are using Airbnb and it completely disrupted the hotels industry. I think the EV charging is going to disrupt the same way the gas stations and the petroleum industry. So people are going to be connected to each other. They can charge each other's car anywhere. And this is going to provide a massive value. It's like democratization of the future of the energy industry, I think. So to sum it up, I think the most important thing is making sustainability valuable with technology and connectivity. I think this is where the biggest focus is moving to in the industry. That's why AI is very important. Connectivity is very important. Yeah.
Elfish shaking his head up there. He knows I'm coming for a question on that in just a minute. But before we do, Arina, I want to come to you. I know you're taking a ton of notes, but I want to get your opinion as well around the current state of energy and sustainability.
So many notes and so many things to say, not enough time. I think we need 2 hours, just saying, you know, just saying. And I am happy to open that up for you guys. Anyhow, I think that the most important thing I think about sustainability is what that means. When we build sustainable design, we live on a design that thrives to be sustainable. That means it wants to stay and not change no matter what. That includes energy from fossil fuels, and that also includes energy we burn endogenously, which, by the way, takes the most cost. Right now, Earth is in a distress. We're living in a situation where topsoil is completely lost, and we're nearing time when, based on the way we live, we're not going to be able to survive. So our fields are dying, and it's all because we are burning endogenously foods that are highly based on the carbohydrates. That's what we run on. So I would say that is the biggest cost. And the problem with sustainability is that it just wants to sustain naturally. I think regenerative is the word that we should concentrate on, because that means that it adapts and it learns. And so to me, that's one of the most important things that I want to think about, is that regeneration. How do we actually expand and diversify? How do we expand understanding of what energy is, how it comes, and most importantly, I think, you know, where will we be harvesting energy soon, right? In the future, what is that we're not exploring, that is not there? And I think that there's a lot of interesting research in alternative energy generation. Now, I think that the real estate, it was mentioned, and I really, really appreciate it, because that's one of the most expensive and non-sustainable things that we have in our lives. That brings me to space. You see, now the space industry has to design this very highly durable, okay? And I want to say durable because that's, I think, the key to that. So what we mean by sustainability. Because right now, space, when you're in space, it always tries to kill you. So if you have a faulty design, poof, you're gone, right? And that's all. And I think that now we finally have enough development in a private sector, in the space industry, that is actually now looking to build solutions here on Earth. And that might be some kind of a self-growing design that produces the protein and greens for you, that kind of recycles and can feed families of 4. I talked about it before. It could be maybe those printing buildings that before were designed to, you know, for the moon. How do we go to the moon? But now we start seeing them pop, okay, all over Earth. And at our moon reach, we will have that, because I want to make sure I have a completely durable design that can allow me to live. And I want to make sure that environment that I design around me is regenerative. And so I think the regeneration and kind of a more solid permanence of materials and the energy I think are the two keys that allow us to say, okay, fossil fuel is almost there. It's almost out. We cannot sustain on that. We will disappear, right? So topsoil loss is a huge problem. So how do we capture everything that's in between for energy, I think is the biggest kind of a question that I look for solutions in.
That's a good point, and to kind of transition from that around back to data. So Elfish, I want to come to you first, and then Tolga. Again, there's a ton of data that has been captured around this industry, but may have not been used in any way, shape, or form. And so to both of you, how can we better collect, better use the data that is available now and in the future with AI applied, or maybe not as well? So I know you both are working on projects, you're both investing in this space. So Elfish, let's start with you. How can we better collect and apply data to these industries?
So firstly, the data is not being collected yet, not in any kind of scale. That's the problem, right? The problem is, how do you collect data to scale in different areas? Part of the collection of data is the standards problem, which is how do you create a bunch of standards around the data, which then you can apply it to different problems. So in the real estate space in Europe, in the real estate space globally, there's something called the GRESB standard, GRESB, is a standard around asset managers reporting on their real estate portfolios. That's just one example of a standard. In Europe, there's also something called the SFDR, which is the new regulation that's going to come in 2022 in around sustainability. So there's a fiduciary reporting requirement of firms on sustainability. This is 2022. We're in 2020 now. We've got 2 years to make this happen. So number one, the data is really not collected. Number two, the standards really aren't there, and there are a multitude of different standards. Thirdly, once you've collected the data, you're collecting not just data to do sustainability reporting, you're collecting data to, for example, to optimize your energy spend. So if you know the footprint of the building and you know what's going on in the building in terms of how for example, what your lighting is like, or your combined heat, CHP, combined heat and power consumption. If you've got solar PV on the roof and you're generating electricity, how does that feed in to optimize what you use? And so all of these things need to be pulled together into a solution. Now, there are building management systems out there, and there are lots of large vendors who supply equipment into these buildings. The challenge is they all have their own silo proprietary ways of keeping the data because they don't want anybody else to have it. Like, well, that's stupid, right? So clients are driving that collection of data to then organize it better, but then optimize to use it in multiple different ways. AI, one of the applications of AI is just predictive maintenance. How can you optimize the maintenance of the building? How do you turn the lighting on and off and the heating on and off in a smarter way to reduce the energy footprint of that building at any point in time? So hopefully that gives you just a flavor of the sort of aspects of energy and sustainability and data and how that fits together.
Absolutely. I mean, predictive maintenance is just a huge area of opportunity that's still just being touched on, and hopefully will come to light in a much bigger way. And Tolga, to you, following on Elfish's point, data, AI, how should this be applied to Elfish's point, since it's not being applied very well today? How can this be applied and looking towards the future?
The reason why it hasn't been applied in the most technological way is because the industry was reliant on oil industry, and the oil industry has been run by very traditional ways of maintaining business. Like, for example, even right now, if you want to know the US oil inventories for the month of August, you need to wait a week or 10 days to get to the latest data. But I think in the future, as the electric vehicles comes to streets more and more, the adoption grows. The industry moves to electric, the companies that are around the electric vehicle ecosystem is going to take the data to the next level, because all of the EV technology companies are they're technology companies. They are not selling oil. It's a completely different industry. It's a completely different development mindset, and it is completely data reliant. So in the future, not only data and AI involvement, but I also think that cryptocurrency involvement is going to be a part of this game too. This whole thing is going to really change, I think, in a very dramatic way. There's no way to predict in like which specific way, but I think like all the pieces are coming together really well in terms of the connection of digital industry, cryptocurrency, blockchain, AI, and this whole electric vehicle innovation coming together.
Yeah, I think you're again calling it out right. I mean, you're bringing in blockchain, you're bringing in tokenization, you're bringing in some of these forward-facing areas, and going back to what's been talked about around value chain or supply chain as well. There's so many pieces of that as well, where that type of technology or even fintech as well fits in very well. And it is Partner Monday, and we are about to hit the top of the hour, so we're going to enter the lightning round. I want to come to each and every one of you for your closing thoughts, and also just generally where people can find you online, and anything else you'd like to add to today's panel, because to Irina's point, we definitely need 2 hours. There's so much to talk about in this industry, but it is Partner Monday, and I want to be sensitive of that. So Luis, let's come to you first. Closing thoughts that you may have around where people should be focusing, areas of opportunity, and then of course, where can everyone find you online?
Okay, so I want to here just agree with Alpesh and talk about the data. It's very important. It's not being collected at all. These last few days I was discussing with my wife, what's better is to open the windows and let the light in, or close the windows and save on AC. It's a simple decision. Where do we save energy more? Just using the lights, or allowing energy sunlight in, but it will demand more on our air conditioner. So this is the kind of decision we gotta take with better informed. And so I think data, it's an amazing place for us to start and save more energy, save more money, spare installed capacity. And so this is an amazing area to invest in. Everyone can find me on LinkedIn. Luis Freitas, founding partner of Edge Advisory. I still don't have the name of our fund so far, but until then, you can find me on LinkedIn. It's going to be a pleasure talking to everyone about it. This is a topic I really love. And again, it was a pleasure being here, talking with these panelists and joining another LATOKEN event.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to have you as well, my friend. Telly, to you, quick closing thoughts, and then where can everyone find you online as well?
Okay. I have to really agree with Alpesh and Luis when it comes to data and data-driven investing. That's really where we're going. There are opportunities to bring in new visibility and insights, especially for fund managers and asset managers into the underlying portfolios that they hold. So there are new opportunities for rating systems and so on. That being said, I think an investor should really look and see where open data and open data policies allow for bringing in those type of insights in order to make that type of decision making. And countries where you have open data policies will more lend towards more investing. Also looking at how you leverage, technologies, fourth revolution technologies like IoT in a combination with, say, blockchain and so on, in order to deliver and capture those insights. Because the missing piece is you have companies that could create different small solutions in the area of sensors and being able to capture it and capture those data insights. And then lastly, obviously, is capital formation and leveraging the data into data assets. I mean, when you're looking at, we haven't even talked about DeFi, if we're looking at what's really going on in open finance, come on. I mean, we're talking about asset-backed digital assets. that's a huge thing right there. I think that can unlock a lot of value for a lot of people. So my takeaway is really data. Look at different opportunities, find ways for you to acquire new, new insights in these areas. The opportunity, again, we mentioned it before, but smart grids, an amazing, huge opportunity. And then, of course, on the sustainability side, you can't overlook ag tech. And of course, around ag tech and everything is really looking at the supply chain and logistics, technology companies that are innovating around that. You can find me on LinkedIn. Name's Telly Valerie Onu, TV Onu, ONU. And you can also find me on Beyond Cap M. We're Beyond Capital Markets, but there are other Beyond Capital Markets. So Beyond CAPM and outschools.co.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Telly. Tolga, to you. Quick closing thoughts, and where can everyone find you online as we are about to hit the top of the hour here?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Definitely feel free to connect with me, Tolga Onuk, and my website, tolgaonuk.com. And our company is, like I said, evloop.app. If you want to learn more about what we are doing, I would love to give more information. It's a really hot industry, the EV charging, and we are one of the pioneers in California, Southern California. I think, the future is electric. So whoever wants to learn more, I would love to give more information. It's very exciting for me. So I hope that, everybody here agrees that, the future is going to be all about electric cars and the innovation around the electric cars. Yeah.
Absolutely. Irina, to you, quick closing thoughts, and where can everyone find you?
Thank you. Well, best way to find me is Google my name. So if you would like to get hold of me, message me on LinkedIn. If you have a portfolio company that is ready for scaling, if you're a company who is ready for scaling, and if you're an innovation, all innovations, now we live in a world of integration of innovations, so they all are deliciously beautiful and opportunities are vast. So please reach out to me, message me. Just make sure which point you're connecting me with. Blockchain is very important portion of many innovations right now. Data, as we've been talking about data right now, if you're a company who has a proof of concept traction, again, who needs for scalability, and specifically, if you are in collecting data and making sure you authenticate it with blockchain, I need to talk to you. So reach out to me, just let me know what it is. And I think the opportunities right now for investors are in those integrations and solutions for energy where innovations are applied. So blockchain space is really wonderful because we already have a material. So opportunities are vast there. I would recommend those.
Wonderful. Elvish, close us out. Closing thoughts, and where can everyone find you online?
So, what shall I say? I think simply, for us, it's practical delivery of these things. There's steps to go through to deliver. We're focusing on getting the data, but I was speaking at a conference earlier today on tokenization because we've been working in the space for 2 years. So one of the endpoints around data is carbon credits. And if you can tokenize carbon credits, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes out of that. So we're building businesses around that. One of the key things I wanted to mention is, for us, it's around a platform and ecosystem play. Pulling the data together, but enabling parties to build apps and services on top of that, because that's where large amount of value comes, but you need a platform ecosystem play. So that's what we're building out. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just type my name. Hopefully you recognize me on here. Alpesh Doshi. It's pretty, type my name in. There's only one of me, and there's another guy who's also me, but he's a gynecologist. So you can't, he's not me. So you could differentiate between us. Unfortunately, his name comes first when you type in my name. unfortunately, but I'm second, so that's okay. So there we go.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. We've got an outstanding group of investors here who are all investing in this area. You can find all of them on social media, and definitely they're doppelgangers as well. But nonetheless, you've got the originals here who you should definitely reach out to. And again, as we say here on VCTV, make sure you add context when you do reach out, especially now in this digital age. Let people know where you may have met them or where you may have heard of them here on VCTV. And if you like what you heard, click subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Do reach out if you'd like to be on a show like today. We would love to find the right opportunity. Thank you, Irina, for you as well. And thank you again to all of our panelists and all of our investors who gave their insights and thoughts today. Even though it was a quick episode, there's a ton more to talk about. Thank you, Telly. And each and every one of them are available online 24/7, 365 to continue that discussion with you. And we'll have them back here on VCTV soon to continue that conversation as well. And with that, a big thank you to Maria and to the entire LATOKEN team for making VCTV possible every single day. And with that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me online at Kyle Ellicott on all social media. We'll be back here tomorrow with more VCTV as we sprint towards the end of the year and get ready for tons more action ahead. Everyone have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.